Hi, I'm Travis Freed, Director of Crisis and Recovery Services at Family Service and Guidance Center. Welcome to the Real-World Parenting series. Our topic this month is childhood trauma. We'll start this video following up from last week with signs and symptoms of trauma. Again, you're going to see things such as similar to depression, isolation, avoidance, tearfulness, lack of interest, and a decrease in meaningful relationships. A lot of times, this is because we're trying to avoid the situation that made us feel the way we felt, and we're trying to not have those feelings of trauma. When we're in a situation of trauma, our body responds in a way that we often don't recognize it as trauma. Our body just panics, and we don't know how to respond to that, and as a result, we take a step back and we try and avoid the situation. Now, if trauma goes untreated, there are long-term effects that are affected by it. You have ongoing depressive symptoms that tend to get worse over time. A lot of youth tend to start to struggle with suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, and other more serious symptoms such as drug use. Those who are traumatized are 30% more likely to use drugs in their future life. It becomes much more difficult to treat. If it's not treated early or addressed early by the family in appropriate ways, it becomes much more difficult for us as providers to get in and make that progress that we need to. It's a longer course of treatment if it's not addressed quickly. It also leads to a decreased ability for emotional expression. By that, I mean you're going to see that decline in relationships. That range of emotions from happy to sadness is going to be much more blunt. It's going to be much more limited. Instead of like a 0 to 10, it's going to be more like a 3 to 5. And you're going to see much more limit in excitement and also much more limit in sadness. And that sadness piece is going to be more consistent the majority of the time. How can parents intervene? You've got to acknowledge the situation. Like I said last week, just because you may not identify the situation as being traumatic to you, you have to identify as being traumatic to your child. Trauma is different for every single person, and I can't emphasize that enough. Be open, talk about it, and have a conversation. This goes with anything with your children, especially dealing with mental illness. There's such a taboo about talking about these things, and it's difficult as a parent. When your child's struggling with something, we struggle with it too, internally, externally. It's not fun to have that feeling of your child struggling or being anxious or being sad, because as parents, we often feel like we're doing something wrong. If you don't feel like you can do that on your own, find more supports. Find grandma, find grandpa, find dad, find brother, sister, aunt, uncle, whoever it is that's natural support in your family, whether it's a neighbor, a police officer down the street, a teacher down the street, at school, a counselor. Find somebody that can give you a hand and be open with them about the situation and be open about your emotions about it too. Because it's very difficult to deal with your own child in that situation because we become so engrossed and so engaged, and oftentimes it's frustrating because we love our children so much. Lastly, seek services. If you can't find support and the trauma's to a degree where your child just can't function and you feel like they can't move in a daily basis, they become suicidal, they think thoughts of harming others in retaliation or whatever the case may be, come find us at Family Service and Guidance Center. Come find someone in the community that you can see as a therapist and get support for you and your family. And during that time, of course, be open and honest about what all is going on for you and your child. That's all for now. Come back next Thursday when we'll talk about the pandemic and the trauma it has had on some children and how parents can minimize its effects. That's all for today. I'm Travis Freed. Thanks again for watching.